Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Oh, I saw this last night and it was like, oh, wow, we got to just do a video on this. This came out of the White House, right? Talk about eh, playing with us, playing with everybody. Again, I'm sure there's whole crews of people dedicated to controlling disclosure and controlling, manipulating our reality or what we're allowed to know, and planting seeds that will probably lead us astray at the same time. It's just wild.
Well, I'm looking at this, and the very first thing I see here, what sticks out to me is Diet Coke. Not just about advertisement, but it really feels like there's some more things behind things than we even know. And a lot of times, hindsight is 2020. So, I mean, is something going to happen with Diet Coke and we're all going to look back and say, "Oh my gosh, that's why they did that."
Well, there's been rumors of nasty substances in there. I mean, I wouldn't touch one ever, and that's just me. Or a regular Coke either, or a Pepsi. Again, when we start to understand exactly how damaging sugar and then a lot of the, if not almost all, sugar alternatives, very damaging too. But let us play this. This is from the White House. I mean, seriously, we're talking. It's a cartoon. It's wild. We have this huge disclosure ongoing, and then they throw this out. So let's break it down a little bit. So again, Diet Coke, splashing little bubbles that almost look like planets. What's going on there? And we see the seal of the President of the United States. 1 + 1 + 1 equals 3 wins. Now, he was saying before he's going to run for a fourth. He was saying it jokingly, but at the same time, it's always planting seeds. What's going on here?
It's something they're definitely telling us something. 1 + 1 + 1 equals 3 wins. To me, it feels very much like they're gonna hit something else.
Interesting. And of course, we see that like it's an atom, the earth, just an atom. Well, I do believe that is the reality. It's as above, so below, as within, so without, the Hermetic axiom that we all know. And that's attributed to, again, Hermes Trismegistus, or Hermes thrice great, which in some ways Hermes is Mercury. Mercury is a planet, but it's also all about communications. And, again, it's recognized by more and more people, I think, out there, that, again, it really is a truth that we live in a holographic universe. This is in some ways a projection that we are all experiencing this reality, and it is also a fractal in that the part contains the information and programming of the whole. And thus, it's written, ye are gods, and yes, you are your own universe. This is part of the bigger awakening that we're going under. So, you have JD and Trump there. Okay, so they see, this is Border Patrol. His name is Homan, U.S. Border Patrol, arresting a winged bat-like being. I guess you're I guess you're pointing out reptilian, would you say? Mothman, yeah, it does look like a little mini Mothman because the Mothman was much bigger. Homan for human, I guess. What else do we notice here?
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at it and you automatically want to tie together the illegal alien aspect of it all with alien aspect of it all, or alien beings. What are they trying to say here? But, going back to the 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 wins, World War I, World War II, World War III.
That could be too.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what I didn't totally complete my thought. But what is this World War III? Are they going to pretend it's against aliens here?
This is again what's happening is people have a tendency to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and of course so much of the world is has been programmed through the Abrahamic lens. Okay, so there we see Artemis, right? Artemis 2. There's 4 faces in a window. It's over the U.S. Well, that looks like a V, which would be a 5 in numbers. 5, that would be, well, I don't know if that's worn out and that's worn out. I'm not sure what the symbolism there would be. Please do share what you guys think. Self-explanatory there. Chuck Schumer is really a robot. This would explain a lot of things, wouldn't it? Or, are some of them really, truly, what do you call them? Cyborgs, androids, robots? I guess it all depends on exactly the composition of the being. I think we know. And look at this, portals everywhere. There's portals everywhere. What is this up there? I mean, I don't know what these things are. Interesting, certainly interesting.
Well, it speaks to the portals and how these beings can come in and out of our realm. And then looking at the this aspect of it all, that it's a robot, or is this a consciousness being implanted in a robot, and this is what's really running the show.
Yeah, if you look to Westworld, one of the main characters ends up realizing it's a robot. It's like AI, and that's a big shock. Um, yeah, this is pretty. Okay, so I mean, what's up with JD's eye? Is that eyeglasses? I guess sunglasses. I don't know. And then you have these bat-like things, reptilian or what have you, lasers coming, shooting JD and Trump as they are in a saucer. So they're in the saucer with the American flag there, getting in, blasted by a flying rodent with, or is it reptilian or rodent with laser eyes? And then we finish with MAGA and President Donald Trump trying to control the narrative. I mean, what are they trying to do here? I think, again, it's always about controlling the narrative. Always. And as things get revealed that maybe, you don't want being revealed, then you got to flow with it, as far as if you are part of the system that has been keeping humans in the total dark. And I think right now you have a large percentage of people that we're looking at Trump as if he was the rider on the white horse. And then there's others that never looked at him that way. And then there's a lot that's been disappointed. Again, what is going on here?
I'm looking at this and wondering if this was posted, I'm just really thinking about this. If this was posted 10 or 15 years ago, what would we think about? Would we just think nothing? Would we just think, oh, another cartoon? Would we sit there and think, wow, what are they trying to tell us here? With all of the disclosure. So, I mean, this to me, the way that they're putting things out there, this brings forward like so many more messages now in a cartoon than there was so many years ago. So basically, where is the line between satire, propaganda, marketing, and storytelling? I think we really need to ask the hard questions with ourselves. I mean, this is our journey. Does it affect us to a degree? Yes. If you're following this, it does affect you emotionally. And we do need to learn to step back and not let these things get to us, but look at it in a kind of a curious way. When you look at things in a state of curiosity, then you're not feeding into the fear.
I would say this could look like a gray, sort of, but also more like a vampire bat type of thing. Maybe not so clearly reptilian. This again more bat-like. So it's again trying to control the narrative in some way, but what are they trying to do? You have a lot of people putting things together, and some people that people thought were crazy, like Alex Collier. All what's that? 30 years ago, he started giving us information. Maybe more towards 40 now, talking on reptilian ETs from Alpha Draconis, and the fact that we are on the menu for certain beings. Now, this is interesting when you start thinking about all the missing people and all the stars that all of a sudden just disappeared, as you're seeing quoted here: Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain. When they were trying to expose something, then they're not here. Well, if you look at it from the standpoint that humans maybe are not top of the food chain, think we all thought, oh, thank goodness we're the top of the food chain on this planet. But what if we were not? And there was actually something that was really controlling us. And at sometimes having a harvest. You go to the law of one, it talks about the harvest, right? That didn't set good with Cindy, just the way it was worded.
No, it never has. I mean, even if the information surrounding it seemed like good information, as soon as that word came up, it's like, oh no, 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 no. Absolutely not. The word harvest is just not okay in any context when we're dealing with humans.
And you even have in the Bible about the chaff and the wheat, and throwing away that which is not productive and everything. It's really interesting. The coming ET disclosure will teach the world about. Whoa, yeah, absolutely. Here you go. Yeah, there is a secret Russian KGB book of alien races. I thought our brother Wayne might have done a video on that, going through them at one point in time. There's alien.gov, there's aliens.gov. You have the U.S. government purchasing 2 alien related domains. Maybe you had heard about one of them, but yeah, 2 of them there. Arizona Wilder, alleged MK Ultra survivor, exposed major players in the power being shape-shifting reptilians interview with David Icke back in 1998, and she disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to her. This has happened so many times. And then we have this. Reptilians wrote 66 books of the Bible we were given. Did you know that there are 711 more books been kept hidden from us? Yeah, I mean, in fact, again, there were hundreds of accounts that we've picked. They handpicked 4, 4 to give us as the foundation of the New Testament, by the apostles. But in reality, yeah, there were so many different writings that were just completely eradicated and burned. And, here you go. When we look deeper,
Bible was created for the sole purpose of enslaving humanity. The author of the Bible is in the title. It is by Ball. I'm going to read you a couple verses.
By ball. By ball, right? And I did hundreds of videos going into explaining everything in the Bible, which definitely rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because they weren't ready to look at it. There's a lot of things that end up becoming mysteries, and oh well, you can never know that because you're just a human, and again, the creator of the universe wrote the book by Ball. And again, there are nuggets in there. There are nuggets of wisdom. There are allusions again, like the seven lampstands, the seven churches, to the seven chakras and the Taiji pole. When we look at 12 apostle, 12 tribes of Israel, we're really, again, talking about astrological archetypes. There is some hidden wisdom in there, but at the same time, the masses, it even says it, that Yeshua, Jesus, taught in parables, in stories for the masses, because it wasn't for the masses to understand. But he taught openly in the inner circle and told them the secrets, just like, again, the Masons and other secret societies have tried to and have kept from the public a lot of the reality behind the scenes. Because what is really going on here? And I'll put the link for that one if you want to watch the whole thing. Well, what's coming out now is that it's always been an extraterrestrial affair, an interdimensional affair. And there's many different beings involved in this. And we will probably be seeing quite a few different ones, perhaps, in our lifetimes. When you talk about Anunnaki, you really are talking about many different species. They're not just one species, many different species. And in fact, when you talk in the Bible about God, it's really gods, plural, because when you look to the Sumerian texts, you'll find, like in the Chaldean Genesis account, it reads, there's a lot of it that reads exactly like the Bible because the Bible took from that and took from these older accounts, the Sumerian accounts. But then it was put into a monotheistic frame, which it never was. It was never monotheistic. And so this is how we transition from one generation or many generations to a new mindset with humans, going from recognizing that there's countless different gods, and that when we say gods, we just mean beings that are technologically superior to us. That's it, in knowledge and technology. That not the creator of the universe. It was never the creator of the universe. You could talk about the creator of this system, the dark matrix control system that we have, because that's where, again, the play on words happens. So when you look at the big story, it's time to tell us, but they have to tell us in a way that they think we could handle to the best of our ability, to a degree. And then, of course, they have to control the narrative, because people, once they have power, especially money hungry, greedy people with huge egos, they don't want to give up the power. It's just kind of that simple.
Well, I think it really depends on where your frequency's at, how things land on you, how they land to you. Knowing and understanding, like when you very first were introduced to the Bible or some other uh, religious text, how you take it the first time is really way different than how you're going to take it in 10 years. And for me, looking at the Bible, I never really noticed anything until I started looking through it in the lens of, hey, maybe this is technology. Hey, maybe this is AI technology. Hey, maybe, how they describe people in here, maybe they're robots or something. When I started looking at the Bible through that, that's where I could start seeing the control. But before that, before I started looking at the Bible through that lens, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it never landed on me. It just went right over my head. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just, do the right thing and go to church and, hang out with the women and do your thing. And look at a verse here and there and call it good. But no, I went to that, my frequency changed, and I went to that new level of looking at the Bible through that other lens. And that's actually when my entire life changed. And so many of those people that I love so deeply, they weren't there. Their frequency just couldn't go there. And I couldn't go back. So it did create a separation with those that I love very, very much, because they were still stuck in the place where you have to believe it like this or else. And I wasn't, because I could now see through the lies. I think that's the moment when you realize, wow, my pineal gland is starting to open up. And that has a lot to do with your frequency.
But what do you guys think? Please do share it with us. What do you make of it? Oh, man, it's quite a ride, guys.
Quite a ride.
As always, thank you for your support. Thank you also for sticking with us all these years. For those of you that have been with us since the beginning back in 2017, we truly appreciate you. Please do leave a comment for the algorithm and to express what your take is on all this craziness.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.